Alright, what's going on, guys? My name is Mike, and welcome back to some more Genshin Impact. Apologies for being gone for an extra day yesterday. I'm gonna be honest, like, my entire body just kind of shut down as soon as Friday hit, and I woke up Saturday morning just feeling extremely groggy and literally not wanting to do anything. That's just something that can occasionally happen, I guess. I felt just so drained after the past week. It was... I can't lie, it has been a bit of a stressful week behind the scenes for me, but, you know, I'm feeling okay. I'm doing pretty good. With the amount of time that I was kind of resting yesterday, because I did stay in bed for a little bit longer than I'd like to admit, I did actually kind of start thinking about some things just in regards to games and what I want to do, like, more so just in my spare time, not really to kind of post it on the channel, but... I was talking with a couple of friends, and, you know, we were all talking about, like, just kind of what games we all, like, enjoyed, and if there were any games from the past that we thought were a lot better than a lot of the more recent ones, and it kind of got me thinking about, number one, the games that I did actually enjoy playing a lot in the past, and, number two, just, what kind of other games I would probably want to play, here in the near future, if I possibly can, because... You know, frankly, it has been very hard for me to kind of play any other games outside of Genshin because it's free, and Call of Duty just because that's kind of like always just a sunk cost that I'm expecting every year. This year I'm not really expecting it just because I don't think Modern Warfare 3 is going to be all that cool, but it just kind of got me thinking, like, you know, in the past few years, like in the past decade or so, on a technicality, Rainbow Six has kind of been a game that, like, I thoroughly loved at a certain point. Now it's kind of unrecognizable to me, and I'm not a fan of it, but Rainbow Six, for a while there, was something that I was thoroughly enjoying, and I do miss it, I really do. So for a little bit of time yesterday, I just kind of went back and watched a couple of videos that were super old from a couple of different content creators, just to kind of some nostalgia and memories, realizing that, you know, the game that I fell in love with kind of is long gone, and it is unfortunate, but, you know, I felt like just so... I had a stupid smile on my face just watching those older videos, because it brought me back to a time when I figured that I was kind of getting away from Call of Duty as, like, my main game, and it felt like the first true time that I was branching out. But then the game ultimately ended up just changing a little bit too much from what I originally liked, and, you know, now it's just not something that I find myself enjoying all that much. Unfortunate, but that's just kind of the reality of what happened to Rainbow Six for me anyway. I understand that Rainbow Six does still somewhat have a bit of a healthy player base, somewhat. I think they kind of drove out a lot of the people like me who liked the way Siege was back then. And a lot of the things that they've been doing with the game now have been, you know, I can't really, like, comment or talk about it just because I'm not the one playing the game, but it's clearly working for them. If they're making these changes, they're sticking with them, and, you know, they're still kind of being successful, but not for a player like me who fell in love with the game years back in, like, 2016, 2017, when the game was built a certain way back then, you know? But besides looking to the past for games that I did enjoy, I also took a little bit of time to consider looking to the future and what games I might enjoy coming up soon here.
Ad Astra Abyssosk.
I know one that I definitely am going to be super excited for once we do get an actual release date for it is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because holy moly, playing Remake, what was it? For me, I think it was early 2020, around the time that I started Genshin, actually, that I was taken aback by how amazing the world was, how good the storytelling was, how good the characters were, and I had never, like, played a Final Fantasy game before Remake, and now I'm, like, just fully on the hype train for Rebirth alongside people. Like, it's just, I can't believe that I have been so ignorant to a game like even just 7 as is. So definitely excited for Rebirth being the sequel to, well, yeah, technically the sequel to Remake, in which Remake is technically a sequel to the original FF7, and I'm calling it here and now. The third game is going to be called Reunion. it might as well just be called Reunion at that point. Like, imagine this: Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm so excited. And what's great for me as well is that I still do not know like a lot of the in-betweens of what happens in between like a lot of the big storybook notes for FF7. That's not really going to translate into like direct spoilers for the sequel trilogy because there's the big things like certain characters dying or certain characters almost dying or what happens after the ending and whatnot and things like that. But things could technically change, and I'm excited to see what happens. But beyond all of those that are like very hard to avoid, everything on the in-between, like things at the Golden Saucer and things at the Temple of the Ancients, I don't know a whole lot about what's going on there. I really don't. So I'm excited to like really have my first experience with all of those set pieces when it comes to the remake trilogy. Another game that I may actually check out that's coming out this year, possibly, if I do have the ability to do so, is Spider-Man 2. I know that's been a super highly anticipated game for the PlayStation crowd. And I did play the original Spider-Man myself, but I think I may have gotten it like discounted somewhere at some point. And I did enjoy it, I will admit. I did fully platinum that game for the trophies that it had, and it was a very good experience. I enjoyed it. But I definitely think my anticipation for Rebirth has overshadowed my hype and anticipation for Spider-Man, just because I definitely did play Spider-Man before Remake. So I've been waiting longer for the sequel to Spider-Man, and I've been waiting less time for Rebirth as opposed to Remake. There is also the matter of some Nintendo games that I really do want to play, and some that are even old as well. But the thing about Nintendo, especially on their eShop store, dude, they never freaking like put any games on discounts. Or at least all the good ones that I want to like actually try, they never put them on discount. So it's like they're gonna be making me shell out like multi-$100s if I just want to try out a couple of their games. And the thing is, I've never really been like a super huge Nintendo guy either, so I couldn't really tell you how their overall quality is outside of things like Mario. So I'm in a bit of a pickle when it comes to Nintendo in particular, but other than that, I am like still kind of pretty excited to hopefully try out a few games coming up in the future, maybe. And I feel like a lot of Call of Duty players in particular, they kind of stand in their own echo chamber amongst themselves, and they kind of just all repetitively say like, gaming is stale, gaming is this, gaming is that, and it's like, when you really look at it, when you actually like expand your sort of perspective on what games are actually coming out, gaming still, I think right now is probably the best it has ever been. In terms of monetization, I think that is something that could be debated, but in terms of the actual quality of some of like the big titles, we're kind of doing all right. Final Fantasy 16 just came out, and although I don't really have any interest in any other FF game outside of 7 right now, I do concede that obviously it is pretty cool. It is very successful. It does have a huge following behind it, just as the entire Final Fantasy series has had. There's also things like Starfield, and there's just a ton of good games out there that people have been thoroughly loving, outside of just like the sole game titles that people like just don't really want to branch out of. Because that is something that kind of Call of Duty forced me to start doing when it came to Vanguard, is, I'm not really enjoying this. I don't see a future for this game. I don't see a future where I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Let me branch out and see if there's anything that I could play. More for right now, let me just try with free games. And lo and behold, Genshin was free, and now I am sucked in. I am stuck here because I love Genshin. I love its world. I love its characters. And sometimes you just need to be able to take that leap, Sometimes it's just kind of worth it. Because holy moly, dude, I've said it once and I'll say it again, Genshin Impact, while it is a free game, it both looks, feels, and is treated by the dev team as a AAA title. In the correct way, not with, like, heinous monetization. Like, people look at gacha and it's like, oh, that's just, pure gambling. You're tossing your wallet at a freaking slot machine, right? The thing about Genshin, though, is, like, a lot of people, even early on, I think, figured out how the gacha system works. There is a win condition that is factually stated, obviously, as well. And, it doesn't like depending on how much you want to invest into a character, like getting their weapon or getting constellations, it's not that big of a monetary investment, really. Now, if you're doing it for multiple characters, or rather all characters for all banners across all regions, then it's like, okay, that's a different story. But if you're someone like me who really is just kind of spending money only on like the battle pass and an extra supplementary login thing like the Welkin, as well as occasional but very rare top-ups for the banners, it's not a huge monetary investment. And at the end of the day, you know, realistically, I'm spending probably as much money that I would in Call of Duty annually into Genshin. So, you know, the overall costs, I don't think is like that bad for someone who just wants to play the game that the way that they want to, in a way, like light spender. And I think it's good. I think it's fine.
Busted.
But, you know, with all of that aside, why don't you guys go ahead and let me know, if you want to anyway, about like some of the games that you thoroughly loved throughout the past of your entire life, or if there's any good games that you're just looking forward to in the future. Because I think something that a lot of us can kind of agree on, like just kind of being the types of people who thoroughly enjoy playing games in our free time, or just taking up a lot of our time in general, like sometimes, or actually I would say rather mostly all the time rather than sometimes, we play these games because we genuinely enjoy them. We get sucked into the world alongside the characters. The characters themselves are a big point for all of us. And it's just something that we all can kind of resonate with, or it's just something that we genuinely really like, you know? Like in the past, for me, just the pure amount of fun that I would have with friends playing Rainbow Six, that's why I thoroughly enjoyed it, alongside a lot of the gameplay stuff before they started changing all of it. And then, you know, Final Fantasy VII, I just got sucked into the world and the characters. It was so good, it was so intriguing, and I just constantly wanted to know more. Spider-Man was just a purely fun game. I don't think the story was like too special. Like it was just kind of something Spider-Man, yeah. But the gameplay, dude, the gameplay for Spider-Man was so good. And then Genshin for me just kind of turned into the whole package. The story, the characters, the gameplay, literally everything. I love about it so much. It's practically perfection in my eyes. I don't really mean to be like biased at all when I say that, but I seriously do think that Genshin, for me anyway, is like the perfect game. Something that I really could fall in love with. Games are just something that's very special, you know? And when you have the right people making these games, it truly is like something incredibly special what they can make out of it, you know? It's something truly amazing. And I'm really happy that, like, you know, I've been able to not only play these games, but start being able to share a lot of my experiences with you guys as well, in particular with when it comes to Genshin. I decided to save this a little bit more towards the end of the video because I know there are a lot less people watching in general up to this point. So shout out to all of you that made it to this point. Seriously, thank you for that. But if you guys are interested for like some of the Rainbow Six stuff that I was talking about earlier at the very beginning, I do still have a lot of my like very old videos from 2016, 2017, and probably bleeding a little bit into 2018 up on my channel. They're still there. They're still there for the sake of like my memories and being able to share like just kind of the fun that I did have back then with Siege. And I don't necessarily plan to get rid of them anytime soon. Maybe in the future, once kind of things start taking off, I'll like, you know, maybe I'll just kind of hide them away for the cringe and something like that, but we'll figure it out. But, you know, those old videos are a bit of a testament to like how much fun I was having with the game back then. And what I guess I really wanted to do with the channel at first, you know, it was kind of all friends oriented at the time. Like I wanted to just play with my friends and share the experience that I had with them. But you know, ultimately, I do feel a little bit better, like just kind of being able to do things based on my own schedule and around my own abilities as well, instead of like kind of hoping that all of us can kind of get on at the same time and things like that. But they are still all up there if you are interested at all to go check them out. So I guess if you want to, go ahead. But yeah, with all of that out of the way, I think we'll go ahead and leave things there for today. So, first of all, thank you all so very much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because although I do kind of still struggle to upload when I want to sometimes, it's just difficult for me at the moment. I do plan on uploading whenever I can. I really enjoy sharing a lot of what I have to say about games, about Genshin, about anything that I want to share with you guys. And if you want to hop along for the ride, be sure to hit that sub button. And I'll always be here. I plan to stay here for a long time, just kind of doing this whenever I can, whenever I feel like it. So thank you guys for sticking around so much. If you're one of those people that have been around here for a while since I started uploading Genshin a lot more consistently, seriously, thank you. But like I said, we'll go ahead and leave things there for today. So once again, thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Peace out, everybody.